Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio in Cumming, Georgia, it's time for Forsyth Business Radio.
And hello, friends, and welcome back to Forsyth Business Radio. I am your host, Amanda Pirich-Marmolejo, and we are broadcasting live from the beautiful Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce located here in Cumming, Georgia. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome our three amazing guests in studio today. But before I give away the goods, I'm going to give you a little hint as to the conversation that we're going to be having here in just a moment.
Have a few minutes? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live in the moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Member FDIC. I've got some partners at Sister Studios that just say that with oomph, and it sounds so good. It's my pleasure to welcome the Regions team here today. We have Gwen Cole. She is the Vice President of Consumer Banking Manager. Also, Priscilla Pocock. She is the Branch Manager, Vice President at Hammond's Crossing. And also Justin DeLockery, who is the Commercial Relationships Manager. Welcome to the show, y'all.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Thanks.
All right. Let's start off with telling our listeners a little bit about what you do for Regions, as they might not be familiar with just the titles that I share. And we'll start with you, Gwen.
Yeah. So I'm a consumer banking manager. What that means is that I manage 12 branches across mostly Forsyth and Gwinnett. I support the branch managers in helping serve our customers and our communities.
Very nice. Thank you. Priscilla.
I am the branch manager for Hammond's Crossing. That's next to Publix off of 306 and 369. I have been with Regions for 13 years, and I am the branch manager of that location. So I serve all of consumer and small business in the area. And I also lead a team of 4 senior bankers. So I take care of all the needs in the community, as well as being out in the community, providing financial wellness and education throughout our community.
Excellent. And yourself, Justin?
Yeah, I'm a commercial relationship manager, been with Regions also for 13 years. So used to be in retail banking, managed branches for a couple years, but for the last several years, working with small businesses and now middle market size commercial relationships all over the metro Atlanta area.
And thank you for making the drive up here to see us today on a dreary day. So let's kind of talk a little bit about the mission, vision, and values for Regions. You know, we are here, and I know you're a community-focused bank, and I'd love for you just to share the benefits and, like I said, the mission and values of Region with our listeners, and that's open to whoever might like to lead.
Yeah, so I think we'll start with our values. So do what's right, put people first, reach higher, focus on your customer, and enjoy life. And we try to do that every day in everything that we do. I like to say we're big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. It's very important. Not only are we encouraged to be involved in the community and to give back, we're kind of expected to do that. And it's a big part of why I'm so proud to represent the culture of Regions.
Oh, that's nice. And now tell me, Gwen, how long have you been with Regions?
14 years.
That's we've got 14 and 13 and 13. Very nice. So what has been so attractive about the Regions brand? Would you consider the banking, it's a brand, to keep you leading a part of the team for so many years?
It's really our culture. So like I mentioned before, we are passionate about giving back to the community, but also within the organization, we support each other. We represent a diverse workforce. We put a lot of effort into demonstrating that in what we do every day.
Give me an example of something that you do with your branches that is a give back to our community.
So a great example right now, it's our Week of Understanding. Every year we focus on learning about each other, talking about our differences, but how those differences bring us together. So we do activities where one of the ones that we just did was we did a name activity where we asked each other where we got our name from and what it means to us. And it was really interesting to get to know the backgrounds of my team. And by getting to know each other better, we're able to serve our community better and to be better bankers.
I would agree with that. Now, we were having a little bit of fun before the show, kind of talking about the history of names, and I'm almost certain, being an 80s baby, that my mom found one in one of those baby name books. I don't even know if those exist anymore, but I do remember it said Amanda is the loved one. So what did Gwen mean?
I think it means fair.
Very
and
nice.
I am fair.
Fair. I love it. Let's bring the rest of the team into the conversation. And Priscilla, I'm going to gear this towards you, as you and I do a lot in the marketplace together.
Right.
So we participate in a few women's oriented groups, Women
Correct.
Connect, LEAP, and you're heavily involved with the Chamber of Commerce also. So talk a little bit about what you and your team do at your branch to kind of give back and to, remain sharp.
So what we do is we participate a lot with the school systems in Forsyth County. So we have participated in going out and delivering donuts, and actually Regions participates with financial literacy and making sure that we not only give back to the customers that come in and giving them a financial plan, but making sure that our students are educated and understanding financial wealth or financial wellness. It's important to make sure that we're educated and early in life. So we actually go out to all the different school systems and really giving back to our students. So that's what we have done at our branch, and it's not just me; it's all the bankers in the branch that have done that.
I do see a lot of community involvement, and that's one thing that I very much enjoy when we see each other out there. You have school-aged children, don't you?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
So are they a part of the Forsyth County school systems?
So actually my children go to Hall County, and I have two boys, they're ages 5 and 10, but I still am a firm believer that no matter what county you're in, it's important to make sure that your children are educated about financial literacy and wellness. I mean, because when we go home at the end of the day, we're still the same people when we come to work. And our children need to understand the concepts of basic banking, the basics of counting, and even our high schoolers need to understand the concepts of what, any bank accounts are and how they need to save and how they need to prepare themselves for credit education when they leave to go to college. And that's what we give them, and that's what our expectations are at my branch when we go out in the community, is that we're going to provide that education to everyone.
I also live in Hall County, just our little neighbor here. So shout out to those schools as well.
Right?
Justin, tell us about the commercial relationship manager role. Commercial relationship manager, right?
That's it.
So you mentioned that you did things with retail, and those are all foreign to me. So kind of break it down in layman's terms.
I'll try to keep it as understandable, I guess, as I can. No. So as a relationship manager for commercial relationships, I'm dealing with businesses. I have probably 50 to 60 different clients within my book of business. So that kind of allows commercial bankers like myself to really kind of get into the nitty gritty with our clients, know the day to day, and really hopefully be able to offer advice and guidance on the best ways to grow their business and make the most of whatever their goals and to help them accomplish them. So it's been fun for me in that role to be able to watch businesses grow. Like I used to run a retail branch, and you kind of work with businesses up to a certain size. But as they begin to grow, they can start working with a relationship manager like myself and continue to grow from there. And as they're growing, getting more successful, the bank is there to help them along the way. One kind of, also opportunity we have is to working with nonprofit clients as well. I have several nonprofits within my book. And beyond just offering banking services to them, we're able to, as a company, beyond just being a bank, be able to offer other opportunities for them as well. So, for example, I work with a women's shelter in the Sandy Springs market, and we do their banking, we do lending for them, so being able to buy more facilities and more space for them to be able to offer their services. The next level that we also do is we go out and provide financial literacy for the folks that stay at those locations for as long as that they're staying there. So they're getting that banking, personal finance, things like that, fraud protection that they may never have really had the opportunity to do. And then above and beyond that, we also do that for the employees of the nonprofit. So we can go out and provide, it's a varied business world out there sometimes, and folks, benefit from that. And so that nonprofit can kind of use that as a, retention thing that, okay, we help the people that work here. We help the people that are coming through our programs, and it just makes them an overall better, well-rounded entity themselves. And it's, a fun thing to be a part of. And those aren't things that, I do entirely by myself at all. We partner with our branch partners. Several of our branch managers go out there regularly to, participate and volunteer. We have a whole community outreach group that provides those financial literacy classes and courses. And it's just a whole bank effort when we're kind of putting our arms around an organization like that and able to help them out.
I would agree with you 100%. The education piece of financial literacy is so important in setting not only just the next generation up for success, but there are some, adults or just new business owners that are not equipped with that education in order to continue to thrive. Gwen, I apologize.
Oh, it's okay. I was going to say I'm familiar with the nonprofit that Justin's referring to. And actually just 2 weeks ago, I was able to participate in what we call a reality check. So we go out and we teach these participants how to create a budget. And we do a real life example of this is how much you have each month. These are your line items. This is how much you should attribute to each of the line items. And they go through an activity where they have to decide, am I going to get the higher amount cable package? Am I going to have a car, or am I going to take public transportation? So it's a real life example of budgeting in action. But what's really neat about it is that across the various departments, we support each other in this financial education. So it's not limited just to the branches. It's not limited just to the commercial or business relationship managers. We all work together to give back to the community.
It's a beautiful thing when everybody works together for a united cause. I'm curious. Go ahead, Priscilla.
I was going to piggyback and say that, we do go out in the community, but I want to make a point to say that we have a custom financial plan that we offer in the branch for everyone. And the great thing about it is there's no cost. So every time a customer walks in, you get to sit down with a banker and we get to do the same thing with you, which is amazing. So when you come in, we find out exactly what goals you have, and we sit down and collaborate a financial plan with you individually. So that's the great thing about Regions is not only are we going out in the community to help you start when you're kindergarten, and then you go to high school and college, and then you're in the community, but when you walk in the door, you have a senior level banker or branch manager or anybody sitting down with you building a plan. So that's the great part about it. And we all do that together.
Yeah, I agree. And it's your plan, not our plan.
Yeah.
So the objective is not, what can we give you? What can we get from you? It's what can we learn about you, and how can we help you reach the goals that you have?
Customizable. I like it. And personalized.
Right.
That really means a lot, to walk in and feel like you have a friend rather than just like crunchy teller. I don't know you.
Right.
Justin, do you have anything to add?
No, it's the partnership, and you kind of mentioned the fact that the three of us have been with Regions for a long time. I think that's that overall culture that makes that something that is desirable and enviable to work for Regions.
Right.
You go around the room at any Regions event, you ask how long folks have been there. I've been here 13 years, and I think I'm just getting started, frankly, compared to some of the folks that I work with who've been here for a long time. Or you hear those folks that took a brief sabbatical essentially and gone to work for another company and find out that not as enjoyable or is not the same kind of experience and the same kind of culture that Regions has. And I think efforts like this, opportunities like this to work in our communities differentiates ourselves. And I think you see that in the type of service that we bring our clients.
It's funny because my son's like, Mom, was I born at Regions? And I'm like, no.
He bleeds green.
He bleeds green. It's funny. Because, we spend our whole lives. I don't want to say our whole lives, but, I believe in the purpose and the mission, and I take that home and make sure I deliver it. And then my son's like, Mom, was I born? I'm like, no.
He's a Regions baby.
Right,
Aww.
right.
Yeah. Now, it is evident that you are all very passionate about what you do, not only within the banking industry, but about serving others, educating others in your community as a whole. I'd like to give you each a moment to talk about your passion and enthusiasm and how you got into this industry. Again, we shared 13 years. I'm curious what led you to this point. And we'll start with Gwen.
Yeah, so as Justin was talking about the tenure at Regions, 14 years, I say all the time, I've worked for 4 banks in my history, but this is the last bank that I'll work for because I will stay because I'm so passionate about the culture. Mm-hmm. But interestingly, I came into banking working at a Harley-Davidson dealership. And I started as a part-time teller when I was studying at the University of South Florida. And I just fell in love with getting to know people and helping people in a meaningful way. So I kind of jumped around from bank to bank, from Tampa to Utah and then to Atlanta. And that's how I landed at Regions. I started at Regions as an assistant branch manager, and I was able to progress from branch manager, managed a number of branches around Metro Atlanta, opened a couple of branches, and got this role in January of 2020, which is a really interesting time to start a new role. Because I don't know if anyone knows, but in March of 2020, something big happened. But the point is that it's been an excellent experience and that I get to really give back to the community every single day.
Doesn't that feel good? You know, you're out there busting your tail, but to have that feeling of fulfillment or the reward is, it speaks volumes. Priscilla.
So it's interesting, we talk about organizations and our commitment to organization. So when I, back in the day, we won't say when, but when I was a child, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So I have had a passion for JDRF, which is Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. And I've committed my life to that organization because obviously I've got type 1. So when I was coming out of high school, at that time, you had to have benefits. Like it wasn't you could be on your mom's insurance till you were 26, right? So I had someone that said, go work at a bank. You can work part-time in college and you can get benefits. I said, hey, that's a great idea. So I worked at a small bank at the time, and so I could have benefits, and I went to college, and I never left banking because once I stepped foot in there and I got the opportunity to serve customers and I served a purpose, I never left. How I joined Regions is I lived in Maryland, and I transferred. And then somebody told me about the Regions culture and how it was different. And so I said, I'll give it a try. At the time when I was at the other institution, I was an operations manager. But I decided I'll come to Regions as a part-time teller and see how it is. Amazing. It was amazing for me. So I have worked my way up in the company and have several different roles, but it's always been the same. And the first time that it changed my life was when I actually had a customer walk in. He wasn't even a customer. He came in, gave his last $100 to a neighbor who banked with us. And I approached him and was able to completely rework his budget and save him tons of money and get money back in his account. And I said, I will never leave banking again, and I'll never leave Regions because I was able to change his life.
Wow.
Yeah.
You saw the direct impact right there.
Right.
And I'm sure he was very appreciative of your efforts.
Yeah. Right.
Do you still know the gentleman?
I do.
I was going to say, I bet the relationships that you guys create last for a long time.
Right.
Like people start families, they get married, start businesses, have kids, their kids graduate and open up accounts with you guys.
Right.
Full cycle.
And the impact is you can actually direct what you learn is you can show that to others. And that's when I got into a manager role because I don't call myself a manager, I call myself a coach. And I want to make sure that the directions that I leave for people's lives are given to others. Because, once you make one impact, it changes your whole life.
The domino effect.
The domino. Boom.
Justin, what about you? How'd you get into this field?
Yeah, I'm a political science major originally from, a degree in college. So really just, graduated in 2009 and found myself in not the best economy for finding jobs. Right. Worked for a different sort of financial institution for a little while. And then this was in Nashville, Tennessee, where I started. And then needed a job because that group was closing down and got a recommendation to check out Regions. Started as an entry-level banker, and I now have been here 13 years. So I've had the opportunity to go from kind of an entry-level position, was able to start managing branches here and move to Atlanta when my wife got a job down here. Was able to manage some branches, then got into the small business side, and now in the commercial, so some larger business side as well. So I think that's just one thing that I've always appreciated about Regions is how much they appreciate the folks and put effort into the folks that work here. They train you, they value you, and you can grow your career here, as every one of us at this table can easily attest to, as you have those opportunities.
I'm curious because you're a political science major. So if you were talking to the graduates out there, somebody that is indecisive about their career, being that you went in a whole other direction, what could you recommend for someone that wanted to kind of get their feet wet in the world of banking and maybe begin their career?
No, I think, ultimately when you get down to what this job is, it's a people's job. It is working with people. It is, do you like to be in front of people, talk with people, learn about them? And as we've all kind of attested to of what we do with our jobs, help people. Do you like doing that? Everything else is, in some ways, things you can kind of learn on the job. You don't have to have necessarily a high level finance. There's roles within the bank that, your education can take you as far as you want to go, by all means. But there's also plenty of roles that you just learn as you go. Because this is the sort of bank that teaches you as you go. If you want to keep growing your career in a certain direction, I could have gone other paths that that don't have to do with the customer facing side of it. But that's the type of role and the type of thing that I enjoy. And it's nice working for a place like that. And that's what I would say to any graduate is, find a good company and find a company that would invest in you. And you'll ultimately benefit from that.
Speaking of that investment, that is a big part of the reason that I'm in the role that I'm in now, is I love to help people align their purpose with their passion. And Regions supports that immensely. In fact, I'm currently utilizing one of the benefits that we have, which is our partnership with Guild. Through Guild, you are able to attend a university or to get a certificate at no cost to you as an employee of the bank. So I am currently attending LSU, pursuing my Bachelor of Science in Leadership and Human Resource Development.
Congratulations. How exciting. Guild. And what does that stand for? Is that an acronym?
I don't believe it is an acronym, but we're in partnership.
In the Guild.
Yeah,
Very
in
nice.
the Guild. But that's a great benefit that we offer to our associates. This is not a tuition reimbursement. This is something that Regions invests in for you and your development. And just one example of the way that we give back to our associates. Like Justin and I actually were branch managers together years ago. I don't know how many years, but it's been
within the past 13, that's for sure.
But I can think of countless stories of people that started as a part-time teller, like Priscilla and I did, and went on to progress within different roles within the bank, and not just the retail bank. There are a lot of different jobs within the banking industry that are not directly customer facing. But Regions is really passionate about learning about your goals as an associate too, so that Regions can support you towards achieving those goals.
You heard it here. Regions is not only investing in their employees and the community, but you can also invest with Regions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's right.
So for those of you just joining us, we have in studio today Priscilla Pocock, and she is the branch manager, VP of Hammond's Crossing Regions. Also Justin DeLockery, and he is the commercial relationship manager. And Gwen Cole, who is the vice president of consumer banking manager. I would like to open up the floor and just have a discussion about leadership. And you kind of hit a lot of points, Priscilla. You consider yourself a coach, and I see you out there with your team and you lead fearlessly. So I'm curious, what does leadership mean to you?
I would say leadership means to me is making sure that you're leading by example. So, if you're encouraging your team to be out in the community, then you need to be right there with them. If you you want to set a clear direction for the team that you have, and then you also want to trust and verify. I did know that from somebody that works with us, by the way. And you want to be out there making sure that, if someone falls, you just grab their hand and you keep on trucking. So I've learned that a lot through the way, because I once was in their shoes. So, and then once we motivate, encourage, and then things happen, we want to recognize the success that we have, big or small. And then after that, I think everything that we do along the way will be successful.
Very nice. And now I'm going to switch it up because we're going to play a different game.
Uh-oh.
And the next word I would like for you to tell me, Justin, what does perseverance mean to you?
I think we can easily look back at the last, couple of years to really look for real life examples of perseverance. I was working in the commercial side of things, so I had the opportunity / was told to work from home and be in that space and still try to be able to provide services to our banking customers. But the branch associates and everybody had to be forward facing. I don't envy those folks at all, and they were really on the ground every single day, that they could be, dealing with a truly epic period of time that we all had to go through. Also during that time period, the perseverance of, our business clients and personal clients, and especially those clients that were doing everything they could to be able to make payroll, doing everything they could to be able to keep their doors open or to be able to maintain some sort of business structure so that they could, keep people hired, keep food on their table. So, I look at the perseverance of the folks that we worked with and ultimately the businesses that we worked for. It's easy to see what that is when you watch, what they had to go through those last couple of years with COVID and the pandemic to get through that. And, by and large, we were trying to be, as good of partners as we could to help everybody through that. And there's just story after story of folks, getting through, making it through and striving and thriving afterwards.
Yes, thank you very much. And my question for you, Gwen, you mentioned it earlier, purpose with passion. What does passion mean to you?
Passion means to me what makes you excited, what gets you up in the morning, what you love to do, and when you walk away from doing it, you feel fulfilled. So passion is a combination of excitement and hopefully fulfillment.
I love it. I would be remiss if I didn't give our listeners a direct way to connect with you all, and I know that might vary from your roles. So we'll start. Gwen, if someone listening is curious about getting in touch with you, what's the best way to reach you?
I think the best way to reach me would be by email, and that's gwen.cole@regions.com, GWEN.Cole, COLE, @regions.com.
Priscilla?
A good way to reach me, well, come see me in person at Hammond's Crossing next to Publix at 306 and 369. But another way to reach me is you can email me as well. Name is kind of long, so we'll get that up on the website so that you have access to that along with my phone number, which the branch number is 678-341-1510. But definitely come by and check that branch out. A lot of folks do not see it initially because it is next to Publix, but it is a great location. We have, when you enter the building, you are welcome home. So come by and just let me introduce you to all of the bankers that we have there, and so that you will have the experience that you deserve.
I'll have to come and see because I've never stepped foot in it, actually driven by it, but I'll have to pop in and hear welcome home. Justin?
Yeah, and same with contact information. I'm sure it'll be on the website, easier to contact me that way, but also just, partnering with Priscilla and other branch managers, that's an easy way for, a commercial banker like myself to get involved. We ultimately are trying to help out that particular client with whatever they need and whatever their business size or whatever their ultimate goals are. So, Priscilla and I will talk about a client, talk about a prospect, and if you're talking with one of us, you ultimately are having access to the rest of us, and that's the teamwork that we try to show.
I love that. And you guys emphasized it time and time again, the Regions culture. You guys are exemplary of that. The way I like to end the show, and thank you guys for joining me today. I told you that our time together would pass relatively quickly. I want to make sure that I've given you a chance to emphasize all things important. If I didn't hit on anything that you'd like to share, please feel free to share that with our listeners. All right. And if not, then I would like for you all just to share some positive parting thoughts or words of wisdom. And I've been putting you in the hot seat a lot, Gwen, although we did just meet today. You look like you got it ready. So I will leave the final thoughts with our guests. And Gwen, go ahead.
Yeah. No goal is too small for us to help you with. People have goals as small as I want to pay back my brother $50 or as big as I want to start a business. And we're here to help you every step of the way.
I'm going to say ditto to that.
Hey, I've heard that on a commercial. Come up with something original, Priscilla.
I mean, really. No, in addition to that, you don't have, when you come into Regions, we are going to take care of everything that you have. So remember when you come in that it is not just for you to bring in your money and to deposit it. We want to make sure that whatever goals that you have, we want to take care of those. So be mindful that when you come in that we aren't there just to take your deposit and you leave and have a good day. It is going to be an experience that we want to capture. And then when you leave, we want to make sure that we call you, we take care of you, and it's a long-lasting relationship. So that's the key thing is relationship. So when you have your friends at home, you've got your family, you're going to have a Regions family.
I'm there for the green sucker.
We got that too.
The green lollipops.
Always
And
That's what I need.
dog
and
bones
the dog
too?
biscuit.
Dog bones too?
Yes. Justin.
Sure. Piggyback off from something Gwen said earlier about being, small enough to know the folks that we work with and big enough to be able to help them with everything that they need. And I think, again, kind of going back to the idea of, everything that individuals, businesses, and went through the last couple of years, having a banker and a bank that knows you, during the worst times was a very large delineating factor of how successful were you getting through some of the worst times that we had in our economy. So I would say that having that bank partnership, having a banker who knows who you are, which isn't something you can always guarantee today, not only is it a nice thing to have, it's a necessity for businesses that want to grow and maintain everything that they're doing. So I would just say that that's the type of place that Regions is, and that's what we're looking to be for anybody we work with on any level, from the smallest individual client to the largest business that we're working with. That's what we're here to do.
Very nice. Thank you all for sharing your expertise and your wisdom. Thank you for your involvement with the community. And you guys heard it. If you'd like to see any one of these smiling faces, pop into the branches. And as you know, you can listen to Forsyth Business Radio 24/7 online at Business RadioX, or you can simply search Forsyth Business Radio wherever you enjoy your podcasts. For our guests today, Gwen, Priscilla, and Justin of Regions Bank, I am your host, Amanda Pirch Marmolejo, and I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. If you simply type in Amanda, Pearch Marmolejo, you'll find me. Until next time, folks, this has been Forsyth Business Radio on Business Radio X.